My name's Joe, we are Stellar Scaffolding, and this is episode 6. Back for episode 6. Today we've got boys working in Twickenham, Kensington, and the job we're on the way to Paddington. We've also got some small bits being done in Portsmouth, so completely down the other end of the country, or the motorway. Yeah, we've got boys striking a crash deck for Mac Demolition in Kensington. We've got a gang working at Twickenham Rugby Stadium, so unfortunately the client there won't let us film in there, so we can't get in there today. We're on the way to Paddington. This is the job that we've promised for a little while. It's a crazy project. So we're on the way to see Kieran up there with Drew, Simon and Dritan. Kieran's going to walk us through the project. Bit of background on Kieran. So Kieran was with us about 2 years ago. Then basically got himself in a bit of a pickle. I think he was a bit of a party on the weekend. Kind of let the drugs get hold of him a little bit. Ended up losing his dad, and basically just went down a very bad spiral. Ended up losing his job with us, and yeah, he was in a bad place. And I'd got wind that he'd started to really sort himself out, sort his life out. He was back on track, like really turn his life around. And at the time we were going through a situation where we were just dealing with just donuts. I had this one day on site that I may delve into it at some point, may or may not, but basically we had a situation. We got rid of a boy, ended up being a situation on site because of it, and I just thought, you know what, I'm just so fed up with dealing with these clowns. Yeah, so basically out of the blue I rung Kieran. It must have been about 5 a.m. one morning and just said, look, like, I want you back on Stellar. What's it going to take? And he told me what it would take. So he said, look, I'm dying to get back on. And yeah, literally we came back on. When he first came back, he ran a job for us in Leicester Square, it was a demo project for Mac Demolition, right in the heart of Leicester Square, like prime location. The job was absolutely perfect, and I was so happy that he was back with us. And this Paddington job that we're on the way to now, it was halfway through, so we already had it. We had the front up, the back up, we had the tin hat on top. And then basically there was a large variation that was about to take place. They needed to get a load of steels up to the building. What they'd allowed for is that we'd create an opening in the front of at the front of the scaffold. They would then get a crane to park up on the main road and pick everything up off the back of the lorry. So what that meant is they'd need to get road closures. Now, each road closure to them was 22 grand. That's what it was going to cost. And that's without obviously additional costs on top of that, of the actual hire of the crane, assisted labour. So all in, the minimum cost they were looking at per lift was 22 grand before they'd even started, and that's just to pay the council. They needed 8 of those, yeah? So the numbers are huge. We then spoke to Damien, our engineer, and Damien came up with a system that we're going to show you today that basically saved our client an absolute fortune. Now Kieran's going to run through with you exactly how the process started, what was involved, and then discuss the additional works that have then carried on. So on this project, we have already over doubled our value, our original order value. So the amount of work that's gone into this is way more than we had actually scheduled for the year. So, but it's been a brilliant project. It's been a very technical project. And to be honest, I'm over the moon that Kieran's come back and he's been able to run it, because the client has been so happy with us. It's a project that we all love, and one that we're proud of. And the situation with Kieran is, my whole being, yeah, is like, obviously I'm ruthless, yeah. I've got a business to run. Like, I'll do whatever I can for the boys, always. And I know that's kind of reciprocated back to me as well. And I'll always do whatever I can, but I've got a business to run. And when things aren't working out anymore, obviously people need to go. But I'll always give a second chance, you know, always, you know, like 100%. Like, yes, I'm a businessman, but I'm also someone who likes people, and I want to see people do well. So, and I believe that everyone deserves a second chance, you know. People can go through so much stuff. Like, for me to be part of someone's comeback is massive. And Kieran is now nearly 15 months sober. He's in the gym every day, and he's already getting to a point where I can see that he's inspiring people around him. You know? For me to be a part of that journey with anyone, that's where I say, when I say this business is more than just a business, it is, because yes, for me, the be all and end all is the business, it's the numbers, you know, that's what has to run. Without that, I can end up in trouble, you know, financially. So the numbers have to add up all the time, of course, but I like people, I like working with people, and I like helping people. And that's what this business is, you know, thrives on, is that. And that's why I say it's so much more than just a business. Finally, last week, we started getting money in. 40 grand payment, we only got half of that in, but the 17, we got all of that in, and we got a few others as well. It definitely takes the pressure off for a minute. Like I say, this business, our spend is high, so we're on to the next ones, you know, so the chasing carries on, you know, nothing slows up. But the other thing I wanted to say is, it's probably weird, especially for the boys, seeing me talk so openly about the money, because never, ever, ever is it something I discuss with them. And the whole reason for that is because my men sign up to be scaffolders, yeah? They don't sign up to be my therapist or people that have to worry about the numbers, you know? They sign up to be scaffolders, to work hard, provide that service, and get paid on a Friday. So as a boss, yes, it's difficult sometimes, yeah? Yes, 100% it is, you know, and yes, you can feel a little bit like it's you against the world. Many times it is, you know, but that's what you sign up for. And sometimes you have moments where it's worth it. You have moments where it's so tough, definitely 100%. But this is business, you know, nothing is easy, nothing's just gifted to you, you know, but it's a case of you do the right thing for long enough and the rewards will pay, yeah? So back to the numbers is like me, the best thing I can do is keep my boys safe from that. They don't need to know about the struggles behind the scenes, yeah? They need to be focused on work and know that their money and their numbers are secure and that wage will be there on a Friday, yeah? The most important thing we have in this business is morale, because morale builds momentum, momentum builds meterage, and meterage equals money, yeah? If we have those four things, we are doing well, and it all starts with morale. So you need to keep your boys immune to the struggles of the business when you're going through them. If anything that happens, you guys are gonna see it, yeah? And I'm showing way more than I've ever shown before to the boys, because like I say, it's a completely separate entity altogether. Huh?
I'm buzzing with doing work today.
You're buzzing to be at work today?
Yeah, it's banging it.
Well, you should be buzzing to be in work every day.
It's cool to be Twickenham, isn't it?
It is cool to be at Twickenham, yeah.
Yeah, it's sick, man.
It's banging, mate, isn't it?
Yeah, but I used to be trying to see if they can get as many tickets. I'm looking at the tickets out. Banging.
Listen, mate, you just get your job done first. We're just putting up to screw fix in Bayswater because there's some bits that the boys need. The parking here is a nightmare, and traffic wardens. I think there's more traffic wardens than there is pigeons in this part of London, to be honest. So I need to make sure that I'm in and out of the vehicle quickly, because I don't need another ticket. We've had a lot of tickets already in a very short space of time, and we definitely don't need another. So I need to be in and out quickly. So wish me luck. We're in luck. Oh, we've got a fair few bits. No ticket. We've got a new resit for the boys. As I try and keep one for every gang, to be honest. Well, I do keep one for each gang, but yeah, they can be a bit of a pain in the arse sometimes and lose things. So boys, if you're watching, stop losing things. Our job today, we're doing a suspended crash deck. So it's actually a King Shore, as you will see. So the boys are going to be using these to fix shear plates into the wall. So it's a case of drilling in. Then we've got what's called a resin, epoxy resin, that basically will go into the wall, and then these will go in. These go in nice and tight. The resin makes sure that it's nice and secure, and then once it sets, it means that the plate will not move. We've got some blades for the boys, and then we have a drill bit. We've just touched down in Paddington. The boys are up here, so Kieran's getting the boys set up now. We're going to go up there and see them. Obviously, we've got Simon, Dritan, Drew, and obviously Kieran. So Kieran's going to run us through the project. I was going to give you a little brief on the front and the back. Obviously, Kieran came in once the adaptation started, but I think I'm just going to leave you with Kieran for this episode. He can talk to you in detail of exactly what happened, why things happened, and the order they happened in. So we're going to go in there now, go and see the boys, and yeah, stay switched on because this episode is a monster. Turned into work today, did ya? Hell. So here we have everyone laugh at the wave at the camera. Football's on. Silly excuses not in on a Monday morning. Good to see you, mate. Boys, all right? Yeah. You good? Good. So we've just got Kieran outside. Obviously, as I said earlier, Kieran come onto this project almost halfway through. So By the time Kieran had got here, we had the front up, we had the back up and the lid on. But obviously by that time, there was a big variation about to take place, and luckily Kieran then became available and came back onto Stellar. So Kieran's going to run you through the adaptation, explain everything as it happened, how it happened and why it happened. So I'll leave you with him for now. And yeah, Kieran, the stage is yours.
So here we go. So welcome to Paddington. I'll take you down to the basement where we started. Cool. This was the first scaffold we had to put in. Obviously there's a void between the basement and the first floor. To strengthen the floor, we've had to come down and put a dead shore in, all done by drawing, all done by design. So this was the first scaffold we've done. It's a little dead shore, meter lifts, braced up, just to take the weight of the floor, the weight of the loading bay that we're putting on top, just so the concrete takes the stress. We've had to put meter lifts in just to keep the structural integrity of the scaffold. We've had to use drop forge fitting just because it's a stronger fitting. Here we've got the dead shore, where you can see a screw jack to the ceiling just to take the pressure off the floor and the weight above. Moving on from the basement, coming up to the main structure, you can see the dead shore that we put in the basement. So the actual structure is sat directly on top of the dead shore, which will take the weight and stop the void from compacting. Going up to 7 metres, you can see that it's cantilevered out over the pathway here, and then it's cantilevered out again at the top level. This is for the lorries to drive underneath here and the Nico rail to reach out to the middle of the road to take the steels off the lorry. We first erected the loading bay. The loading bay was 4 metres by 3 metres off the building, directly to the floor. Bearing in mind that the site agents come back to me and the scaffold was in the way of the door, we've had to put ladder beams in to make an adaptation to bridge the doorway to still gain access to the main site. So you can see the ladder beams in, the dolly towers, put in structurally 1.5 metre lifts, braced up, double braced, cross braced, plan braced. Originally the loading bay would have come out to here, as you can see the 5 standards, they would have come down to the floor. What we've had to do is cut them out. We've had to put the bridge section in, a new dolly tower this side, to transfer the weight across the beams down the standards. As you can see, we've thrown 4 ladder beams across to the dolly tower. You can see the dolly towers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 standards in one dolly tower. This is to take the load of the loading bay and when they start lifting with the crane up top. You build the dolly tower, we've got 1.5 metre lifts, braced at every standard, structural transoms across, double on double, all made out of drop forge fittings.
Geezer, you alright?
How are you, man?
Good, by you? You just want to be on camera, don't you?
This is the first cantilever at 7 metres. What we've had to do is overhang the road so we're getting closer to the edge of the lorry in the middle of the road. By this, we've had to shear plate into the back of the wall by running beams in, structural beams, and then you have structural 450s out for your cantilever. So the shear plates are tied in with 150mm Excalibur bolts straight into the brickwork. You've got 2 shear plates per beam, and you've got five rows of beams. So you've got 10 shear plates holding the back of this first cantilever. Your first loading bay up to 7 metres was 4 metres by 3 metres. Now at your first cantilever, I stepped out another metre, so we've got 4 metres by 4 metres. So the spaces between the shear plates, 1.8 metres. As standard, we'd use Apollo ties, but where it's a cantilever structural scaffold that they're going to be lifting off, we've had to use shear plates, top and bottom, 1.8 centres. Now we're going to go to the top and see the loading bay. The second cantilever. Basically, we had to bring the lift shaft up structurally to take the beams, cantilevered out top of the lift shaft, to take the beams, cantilevered out the front of the loading gantry. The original design of this job was a front and back with a temporary roof. Now we've added the loading gantry into it, which has got a crane on, we're going to be lifting heavy loads. We've had to strengthen the scaffold. Basically, by design, 450 beams front and back, 4 rows, just holding the scaffold together to stop it twisting, stop the lateral movement, stop the movement front and back when they're actually lifting with the crane. Eventually, we're going to fit Nico rail, which will be their crane for lifting down from the road up to the gantry. As you can see, we've got more 450 beams. You've got your boarded platform up there where they'll be landing the beams. Nico rail is basically a rail that they could use to run along the gantry, out over the cantilever, crane down to the back of the lorry, pick their steels, whatever up, lift back up to the loading gantry, move into the gantry wherever they need to put it.
So basically Kieran's had to put in another bottom handrail there. It was in already, but I think someone's taken it out. So that's an issue we always get on our jobs. We put things in, other trades come in and adapt. So obviously as of yet, this isn't even in service. So we've got everything structurally in. It was due to start, but the clients had delays, I think further down. So at the minute, we've got obviously the main structures in here, as Kieran just discussed, but we're just waiting on now to get the go-ahead to put the Nico rail in. We've had to put that bottom handrail in, so obviously now it's safe for us to get up there. and show you the next part of the job.
This is where the Nico rail will be attached to. These beams, we'll run it from front to back. Your Nico rail will have another set of 6 metre 450 beams with another cantilever of 1.5 metres with the Nico rail attached to it and your lifting crane down to the lorry.
So as you'll see, the road here is very, very narrow, and obviously where we are, we're in Paddington, prime location in London, so the road closures here, obviously initially what the guys were looking at, what the client had allowed for, was to have a crane in here, but obviously the crane they would need is going to block off the whole road, so that's where the road closures would have come into play. However, the design that we've got now, obviously where everything's cantilevered, the road can be kept clear.
Coming back to the beam work that we've had to put in just to hold the scaffold front and back. You've got 4 rows of 450s, laced and braced at every metre, plan brace top and bottom, 750s running from front to back. They're actually taking the middle of the roof now. So we've had to punch up from the beams to take the weight out the middle of the roof, just to give it that extra bit of strength when they're lifting with the crane. The back end of this tower here, this goes right down to the basement, through the lift shaft, right down to the floor. It's a structural tower, 5x5, all the way to the floor. As you get to the roof level here, we've cantilevered the beams out to take the beams running the 750s out to the front of the crane. Whilst designing the job, working closely, liaising with the engineer, when he put it through his programme, the scaffold actually collapsed on 2 occasions. So plan A didn't work, plan B didn't work, plan C was the final plan we put in place. As you can see, it is 110% fit for purpose. So that concludes the first project I've done back at Paddington. We'll move on to the next. We're going to go and see the boys. They're putting in some shear plates to take the weight out of the crash deck we've erected for the contractor to take the floors out as they're going up progressively.
The boys are just in here cracking on, as you'll see.
So this is the crash deck that's been erected. So basically these crash decks are going in so they can take the floors out as we're going up progressively. But also, as they're taking the floors out, we've also got to shore the walls to stop the walls folding in. So what the boys are doing is putting the shear plates in each end of the scaffold to give the walls their structural integrity. As you can see from where we come from, the cantilever scaffold on the front, we're using shear plates to tie the scaffolds into the walls so they don't move. Some of the brickwork, as you can see, it's really, really old. Sometimes they don't hold the Excalibur bolts. So what we end up having to do is use epoxy resin to hold the bolts into the wall. So basically you drill the hole out, you put a little mesh sleeve in there, fill it with resin, put the bolt in, leave it to set, and it's gone off like it would as concrete. And that is our method of tying for the concrete. But also, them shear plates are taking the weight. A set of beams suspended between the walls on shear plates already, which we punched this crash deck off on. Now we're getting to a certain height, we need to start taking more weight out of the crash deck because you've got more lifts on top. So 4 metres above the last 2 shear plates, around the perimeter, we're going to add another 14 shear plates just to take the weight out of the crash deck for when we keep going up. Incorporated in this crash deck is a lift shaft scaffold coming from the basement. So basically every level they need to do a pour. So every 2 metres we bring a lift up, they do a pour for the concrete. Driptown's adapting the crash deck now so they've taken the floor out, so the crash deck now gets adapted so they can pour the concrete lift shaft and we go up again with a scaffold to the top floor. The next job we had to do, obviously as we're taking the floors out, we need to support the walls. When they take the floors out, there's nothing stopping the walls bowing in. So what we've had to do is build raking shores off the loading bay down there. Let's go and have a look.
So as you'll see, everything that you've seen from once we were outside, all of this now is additional works. It's all variations.
Originally, we had a flying shore built in the building. As you can see, we've still got a flying shore over this side, but they needed access around this concrete lift shaft. So what we've had to do is adapt the scaffold to give them an independent scaffold round the lift shaft so they can pour their concrete, but we've also got to support the walls at the same time. What we've done, we've brought a loading bay up from the floor, and off of the loading bay, we built a raking shore, pinning the walls together. So on the inside, pinned, the outside pinned, laced and braced. You've got sets of shear plates at 2 levels. You've got 2 raking shores, one at this level, one at the level above. And as you can see, the boys are doing the one at the top now. Basically, what they've done, they've taken the floors out now. The floors are a structural integrity of the building, so what the floors do is stop the walls from bowing in. So without the floor there, we've had to put a scaffold in place to act as the floor to stop the walls bowing in. As the project's progressed, they're taking every floor out. So from the flying shore, we've had to go back to the design so we can get a new design, amend the design, so we can put a crash deck on top of the flying shore to take the floors out progressively as they go up. Bearing in mind we have to take the weight every 4 metres with extra shear plates, just to take the weight and the stress off the bottom shear plates. So here we come across another little bit of independent we've had to do. So basically, what they're doing, they're putting temporary works in stills to break walls out, and all we have to do is give them access so they can lace and brace their stills. Just your basic independent scaffold. On the first lift of the independent, we've had to put a bridging section in, because what they've done, they've dug a trench out to pour concrete for a pad stone to take a big steel, to take the first floor stills. There was a bridging section of 450 beams sat on top of the parapet walls. What we've had to do is raise the beam section up to give them access to bring the parapet walls up and put a roof on all this. What we've done, we've run 750 beams in, a full length of the scaffold, with structural dolly towers and ladder beams shear plated in, take the weight of the 750 beams, span to the middle. If we come to the middle here, we've got a tower that goes directly to the floor. So we didn't need to put any shear plates in at this bit. This goes directly to the floor. That's taking your weight of your middle of your beams, and then you've got your other span coming to your dolly tower with your ladder beams into the wall. Again, shear plated in, dolly towers are your four standards, so it takes a structural weight. When the weight is transferred down through the scaffold, along your beams and down your dolly towers.
Kieran's now obviously spoken us through the project. As you'll see, there's an awful lot gone in there. Our main scope of works, as we've already said, was just the scaffold at the front, the scaffold at the back, and tin hat. Everything else you've seen is a variation. Now, Monoflex we're using very regularly, and obviously the main part of that is to weatherproof the building. Now, this scaffold went up a year ago, so the project now, as of I think yesterday, the 1st of July, is now in additional hire. So obviously our job is to hand the scaffold over with it being watertight, but it's not our job to maintain it unless the client requests us to do so. Now, until this point, they've not wanted to renew the Monoflex because, as you see, it's not amazing, but it is still doing its job. However, on the higher levels where it's more exposed, we've had to renew that. So if you're looking at the Mono and thinking it doesn't look immaculate, we agree it doesn't, but there is a reason for that. Hello, it's Joe from Stellar Scaffolding. Are you able to send me all our invoices for DVG?
Yeah, that's absolutely fine.
So yeah, basically we've got an issue with our Mercedes. So it had a tracker fitted about, I think, 6 months ago, and since then, obviously it's a 100 grand lorry, over 100 grand, and was absolutely spot on, completely fine. We've had a tracker fitted, and all we've had issues now. Basically what we're doing now is we're trying to get together a claim to go to the guys who installed the tracker. We've had it confirmed that they've basically plugged into something they shouldn't have, and yeah, it's caused so many issues. The lorry's been in and out constantly. I think we've probably spent easily over 15 grand in it being in and out, recoveries. It's just been a nightmare, like nightmare after nightmare. So, and like I said, the lorry is only a year old, so we're now trying to put together a case, because obviously it's cost us an awful lot of money. It's a lot of downtime in the vehicles. We've had to hire lorries, so the impact is massive. And obviously from us, we bought a brand new lorry to make sure there's no issues with it. So obviously these people have put the tracker in. It's caused nightmare after nightmare, so we're now trying to put together some sort of claim so that we can obviously get back the money that we've outlaid, which obviously we hadn't accounted for. But there's so many things. Obviously when you set up a business, obviously you've got your mind on running the company, making money, like the work, but there's so much wasted time stuff like these that you've got to put time into. It's just a pain in the arse. It's going to do it for us. I've got to get it done, got to get it dealt with, and we get obviously the money that we've outlaid back in the bank. So it's going to take time, but yeah, it's something that I've got to be dealing with. So that brings us to a conclusion of our visit to Paddington, the Paddington project. So yeah, I think Kieran's done really well there. Obviously, as you'll see, like the scope of works there was so simple to start with, but as the project's grown, for whatever reason, the client has just put more and more on us, which obviously is good for us, but a lot of the stuff there is very, very technical work. Nice for me to give the boys a platform where they can voice their work, what they do. And obviously, like all of us, this is new to all of us, you know. So obviously our business really is scaffolding, but obviously now we're going public and we're letting you guys see what we do. It's a case of everyone getting used to being on camera, and you know, like we're like this is a new thing to us all. So as of now, the feedback has been so good, and we're so grateful for that. We're so grateful that people are enjoying what we're doing, and obviously we're just keeping it real. We're just doing what we do. We're just showing things as they happen. Obviously we're starting to invite you into more and more projects now, so you're starting to see the type of work that we like to do. But yeah, obviously just we're very grateful for the support we've had. The channels just keep growing up more and more. There's some really good things and conversations that are now starting to take place regarding the channel behind closed doors. There'll be more on that soon. But yeah, like I say, we're really grateful. Thank you for everyone that is tuned in each week. Obviously we're now up to episode 6. Next episode is episode 7. And yeah, like I say, just keep following us. If you've got anything that you want to see, I know people want to see the yard. That's coming soon as well. So yeah, we've got a lot still to show you. Obviously we've got the 27 builds in a day coming up very soon as well. So there's an awful lot still to be shown, still to be seen. And yeah, like I say, we are on this hunt. We've got our journey, we've got our sights set for where we need to be, and we've still got an awful long way to go to get there. So keep following. If there's anything you want to see, get it in the comments. Don't forget to like and comment on the video. And yeah, if you haven't done already, please subscribe. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week for episode 7.